Hi, I'm Lawrence Eichen. Thanks for watching this preview on defeating imposter syndrome. So, why do I talk on this topic? Well, the reason is because number one, I can relate to it. I've suffered from imposter syndrome for a big part of my career. I know firsthand what it's all about, how it impacts you, how to defeat it. It's something that I'm very passionate about. Secondly, it's also very common amongst professionals, executives, business owners, and entrepreneurs. It's widespread amongst famous people that we all know. For example, people like Michael Jordan, Tina Fey, Tom Hanks, Meryl Streep, just to name a few. So, this is a phenomenon that's widespread. And I find the psychology that's behind it very interesting. And as I said, I relate to it, so I'm very passionate about it. Also, I've had the good fortune to help other people overcome their issues with imposter syndrome. And that's something that's personally very rewarding for me to do that. And that's another reason why I'm passionate about it. So let's make sure we're all on the same page. What is imposter syndrome? Well, it's the fear of being exposed as a fraud or as an imposter. It's fearing that other people will find out you are not nearly as qualified or as competent as they think you are. And this fear usually translates into attributing our successes or our achievements to external factors having nothing to do with our skills or our competence or our qualifications. For example, we can attribute our successes to external factors such as luck, just happening to be in the right place or the right spot. That's why you got the business, or that's why you got the client. Nothing to do with your skills or competence, just you were in the right place at the right time. Or we can make it seem like it's because of our personality. Maybe you're a charming woman or you are a real personable man, right? You got it because of your personality, your charm, not because of your qualifications, not because of your competence, because of that external factor. And external factors can also include your gender, your race, your ethnicity, or even a handicap that you may have. All of these become the reason for your successes, not your skills, not your competency, not your qualifications. Now, that's a little bit about what imposter syndrome is, but what is it not? Well, it's not a medical diagnosis. That's first and foremost. You're not going to find it in the physician's desk reference manual. It's more like a phenomenon. But even though it's a phenomenon, the impact and how you're feeling is real. The good news is it's not your truth. You're not an imposter. You're not a fraud. That may sound trite or silly, but that's the reality here. We're just feeling like we're going to be exposed as one, but the truth is we're not one. So that's the good news. Okay. Now, what about its symptoms? How does it show up in your business life? Well, sometimes it's obvious in terms of the fear and the stress and the anxiety you may have because you're constantly worrying about being exposed, right? As this fraud or this imposter. So that's one of the ways that it will show up. Just your mental well-being won't be so good because you're constantly feeling stressed or anxious about this. But in a more subtle way or a more practical impact, it shows up because we tend to play it small. We want to fly below the radar, as they say. We won't really embrace greater challenges or greater opportunities or take on more risk. Because if we do and we fail or we make a lot of mistakes, we're going to be exposed as that imposter. So we're going to play it small instead. Also, we become indecisive. We don't make decisions quickly or we kick the can down on a lot of decision making because we don't want to make the wrong decision. We don't want to be exposed as maybe not being qualified to be in that position of leadership. Maybe it's being a leader, just being an owner, or maybe it's being a leader as somebody who's in a senior level position, an executive or a manager, and you have people reporting to you, or you have employees, right? And you're leading them. We don't want to make decisions because we want to be perceived as not being qualified, right? It can also show up as perfectionism. God forbid we make a mistake or we fail at something. We can't risk that because we'll be exposed. So we're going to be perfect. We may have an excellent work product, but then we're going to just keep working and making it perfect and spending needless amounts of time and energy. Perfectionism is a way of compensating for that fear of being exposed. What about procrastination? That's another way it shows up. We'll kick the can on things that we know we should do for our business, but we don't. And I'm not talking about mild, procrastination where you do something in the afternoon where you should have done it in the morning. I'm talking about chronic procrastination where it's weeks, months, years, knowing you should do things that could definitely help your business grow, but we put it off. And the reason we do is because usually those are things we're not great at, or we don't do that often. We might fail or make mistakes, and then we're exposed. And conversely, think of it this way. We may not do those things, right? But what if we did do those things? What if we did do all those things that we know we should? And we started to just grow our business as a result. We made better relationship with clients. We got more clients, bigger clients. We got more revenue coming in. We're more successful. We got a bigger office now, a bigger car, a nicer house even, right? All these things start happening. Isn't there a risk that there will be a spotlight on us? We're going to be noticed because of all of our newfound success? Well, we don't want to be noticed, right? We want to hide. We don't want to be exposed because we still think we're a fraud and we're pulling it over on everybody. So fear of success can be a reason why we don't do what we're supposed to do and we chronically procrastinate. Now, what about your demeanor? What about your attitude to suggestions and constructive criticisms? If you're a leader, your position in management, right? Are you going to be open to people suggesting other ways to do things that might be different than the way you're thinking to do it? But not only different, but better? You might not feel comfortable with that because then you're thinking, oh my God, I'm going to be exposed as somebody who's not qualified. They are actually smarter than me, or they can make a better suggestion or a better idea than I have. I don't want that. So you tend to bat it away and close people down. And that's not really effective leadership, which can lead to a toxic work environment and can lead to employee turnover as well. So that whole general disposition of being defensive and guarded about being exposed can lead to real management and leadership problems as well. So those are just a couple of examples of how imposter syndrome can manifest on your job or in your business. To defeat imposter syndrome, there's a lot of techniques and strategies that we can use to defeat it so that when it pops up, if it does pop up, we can defeat it right then and there. If you're interested in hearing more about this subject, please contact me by email or phone. I'd be more than happy to talk to you and your audience about defeating imposter syndrome. Thanks for watching this preview. Talk to you down the road.